All right. Let me open one more thing and then I'm ready to go. We're getting there. All right. All right. Okay. 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 Let's see if does that work. What if I push this button? Sure.
Just the facts, ma'am.
Shut up and never say anything again as long as you live.
Did you hear that? Yeah, it's a dictator. It's a dictator. It's a P-win.
Okay. First of all, let's just get started. I got there's too much going on this morning, and we got guests on Friday and guests on next Monday. Bob Seska's going to be with us on Monday. Huh? How about that? And then we're going to try and get Francis and Mr. Electrico himself, Driftglass and Blue Gal from Crooks and Liars on Friday. We'll talk about some of this stuff because there's a lot to unpack. Now, a couple things right out of the gate. Welcome. It's the morning show. It's hump day, so it's my day. So just get used to the idea. Phil will be joining us. Our dear friend Philip Bittner will be joining us from Ukraine at the in the second hour. Lots going on there. Of course, the concern about Ukraine funding and all that kind of stuff. Let me be abundantly clear. A lot of noise will be made from Marjorie Taylor Greene and the rest of these to cut Ukraine funding, and we're not going to fund Ukraine until we seal the border. Okay, first of all, we're never going to seal the border because if we did, the entire economy of Texas would die in an afternoon. Nobody's actually asking for that. It's all puffery and political bullshit. Just straight out. No one's sealing the border. No one's closing the border. What they mean in some cases is, I don't know, hyper enforce immigration across the border so that they create a version of Title 42, but permanent or something along those lines. But that requires actual legislation and some fucking brains. And the Democrats have been working on that, are working on it, still working on it. But the Republicans are not working on anything right now, just for the record. They are right now, they are all in rooms yelling at each other. And it's glorious. And we'll get to that in a moment. Now, one of the ways I know this, of course, is by this morning, our dear friend Bongholio, who is looking for TP for his bunghole, Bongholio, he's tearing himself a new one. There is this sort of apoplectic panic attack going on the right now. Like, there are no heroes. You can't have any. There's no real winners. It's all, everybody's the deep state. You know, that kind of thing. They're all wigging out. Everybody's a loser. Nobody's a winner. They'll paint with a broad brush over Republicans and Democrats and independents and fucking Greens and Dem socks or whatever the fuck. But in reality, they just mean them. They just mean that the Republican Party is ass. It's not a functioning party in any way. They have no interest in governing. It's just dumb. They know it, but they've got to go, Washington is broken. No, 1/5 of Washington is broken. And I would say another 1/6 of it, depending on how you look at the lineup, is dented with the Clarence Thomas situation. But the half of the House being fucked up because these guys are just idiots is not my problem or your problem. It is the problem of these districts and these voters. And to some degree, it's only our problem if next year we don't show up. In which case, we're just signing off on all this shit. Anybody who clamored about this and was like, I'm exhausted, I can't handle it, it's too much, and you don't vote, I got nothing for you. I got no respect for you. I'm now, I think you're whining for whining's sake. That's just how I go. Anyway, so that said, we don't even really have that problem. Democrats are going to vote. It's Rovember from now on. Let's just understand that. And RFK Jr. and Marianne and Cenk are going to have zero impact on Biden's electability next year. Zero. Fuck off. Not happening. Just saying. Zero impact. You're going to hear a lot of ebbing and flowing. You're going to hear polling and blah, blah over the next. Zero impact. Zero. As a matter of fact, RFK even said, Jr. said, because the other one's passed away, RFK Jr. has said that if anything, he's going to steal votes from Trump, which is arguably true. I half expect this asshole to run for Rand Paul's seat after this is all done, move to Kentucky and be a carpetbagger. Now, that said, I got on a bit of a tear this morning before we get into our regularly scheduled programming. I got on a tear this morning because of I'm not on Shitter very much anymore, but I jumped on there because I've been increasingly aggravated that Jim Jordan has been repeating this 4 talking points thing. He's been pushing this. There's 4 things. Hunter Biden was on the board of Burisma. He was unqualified to be there. They asked for a favor and Joe Biden did it. That's what he's selling. That's horseshit. It's a provable lie. It's embarrassingly lame. This document alone does it. This is the president's agenda, the vice president and now president, but then vice president's agenda when he was going to Ukraine in December. They planned these things ahead of time, unlike the Republicans of the fucking Trump administration, where they're like, what time's my homework due? Shit. The Biden administration and the Obama Biden administration both plan ahead. They go, well, in a couple months we're going to have this thing, and we've got this big meeting coming up. We should prep for that. They do the actual homework, especially since they'd already doled out $2 billion in loan guarantees, and they were coming around for the third round of it. And while Ukraine at the time under Petro Poroshenko had been meeting most of the check marks that had been, as far as anti-corruption stuff, he had clearly not done a couple of things. And they were like, this has got to happen before the next money comes. And we got to press for that. And so Biden on the plane just said, I think I can get him to do it. Let's just fucking pull the fucking cord. And he did, and he bragged about it at the CFR, and everybody acts like his talking about it on stage at the Council on Foreign Relations is actually some like hot mic situation where he didn't know he was being recorded on a stage in front of a bunch of people during a Q&A. It's just dumb. Anyways, so I posted this morning. I was really actually attempting at first only to do the little emoji right there, but because on my phone I used stickers, it just put that on screen, and I was like, I'll leave it. This is the document that I've shown you guys, and I was worried that if I just posted the page, they wouldn't quite notice. So I made a couple of minor accents, I guess, to it. That's the way to put it. First of all, the giant orange arrow pointing at the fact that it's November 22nd, 2015. November 22nd, 2015. November 22nd, 2015. So every time Jim Jordan or Jamie Comer comes out and says December 5th and phone call December 6th, 5 days later, Biden goes to Ukraine, which is the 7th and the 8th, a trip they had already planned. See this December 7th, 8th right here? Vice President Biden's meeting with Ukrainian President Petro Poroshenko December 7th, 8th. This is the notes on it from November. Already decided. November 22nd. If anything, and we'll get to this in a second. If anything, they're proving my point, which we'll get to in a second. But this is the primary one. I've shown you guys this. I don't want to belabor the entire thing, but the primary sentence here is they're talking about reforms, especially overhauls of the Prosecutor General's office, including removal of Prosecutor General Shokin, who was widely regarded as an obstacle to fighting corruption. Period. That was primary. That it was listed specifically. That dude, that job, gotta go. Fuck him. November 22nd, 2015. Already decided. That's that's cut dry as you need. This is the State Department's outline of what the trip's going to be about, in coordination with the entire administration. And maggots, I know we've got some maggots in the chat room. We're growing exponentially, especially the afternoon show. Holy shit, we had like 3,000 plus. Looks like a plastic surgeon's markup. That's right. That's where they're getting their. This is where you get your bullshit tuck. But maggots, I know if there are a couple of you in here, explain yourself. This is real easy. Jim Jordan says the phone call on December 5th from Dubai, Hunter calling his dad was to get Shokin fired. We now know, right? We now know that was already decided in November. Before Thanksgiving, they had already made this. Yeah, not for public release. Well, it was sensitive but unclassified at the time. They have John Solomon, who from Just the News, which is the right-wing repository for a lot of this shit. A suppository for this shit, posted it on his site. So he thought this made his case, which you've got to be magically fucking stupid to put that. As a matter of fact, I copied the file as a PDF and saved it to my hard drive in case they wake up to the fact that this eats their entire fucking case. Which it will. So, anyways, maggots, explain to me. Well, I'd love to see you. I know you're in the chat room. You're probably, there's a couple of YouTubers, maybe Facebook. I don't know. Explain how the phone call on December 5th changed Joe Biden's mind about getting rid of this guy when they had already made it a priority in November. I'm waiting. Anytime. Any fucking time. And why the State Department and everybody was signed off specifically on getting rid of that dude. While, by the way, congratulating Ukraine as a government compared to under Yanukovych, them improving under Petro Poroshenko and going, yeah, they're meeting these marks, but they're not quite there yet, and we've got a lot to do. And what we want him to do is come out and talk about corruption, specifically fight it, and set up an organization where all their publicly held companies are all their economics are online where people can look at them. This was what the Obama-Biden administration was insisting on Ukraine to do to get our taxpayer money to help them. If you're going to have these public traded company or these public owned companies, which is part of what Burisma and stuff was at the time, then all that funding has to be shown online so people can check the books themselves, especially the American taxpayer. If we wanted to look and go, hey, where's our money and our loan guarantees, or anybody from the IMF, they want to know where this money is being spent. All of it's online. They wanted to set up a system. And you know what? They fucking did. So this is the entire Dubai phone call to get Shokin fired. 5 days later, traveled to Dubai and got the son of a bitch fired. And that's because it was his job at Burisma and he was protecting his son, or they were getting paid. All that's horseshit. This in and of itself proves that's horseshit. On top of that, they were aware that this was becoming a priority. Petro Poroshenko was bitching about it at the time, even though he now regards Shokin as an insane person. At the time in his transition, he was like, the devil you know is better than the devil you don't. So, well, I'll make do for a while. And Shokin's his fucking, like Poroshenko is Shokin's kid's godfather or vice versa. Anyways, they're this kind of like lapped up corruption is pretty common in Eastern Europe and certainly was throughout there when the Russians were running things. All right. Yeah. So, they had already made this decision, but here's the thing. They were aware that this was a priority. The rumble around DC was Shokin's gotta go. The rumble around Ukraine was Shokin's gotta go. But at that point, Zlochevsky, if anything, wanted Shokin to stay. He wanted to keep him there because he had him, they had an agreement. He was paying him to keep this investigation from moving forward. And they, again, the devil you know better than the devil you don't. And if you get rid of this fucking guy, the guy they're going to replace him with is definitely going to be more anti-corruption than Shokin is, period. So they weren't trying to get him fired. They were trying to get him to make sure he kept his fucking job. Got it? Zlochevsky wanted Shokin to stay because he knew his price and he was paying it. That's it. I'm just explaining this so that I can clip this later and we could post this for anybody who believes this stupid 4-point lie from Jim Jordan and James Comer, because it's all garbage. And it just couldn't even be easier. It's just that fucking simple. In deference to, of course, Jim Jordan and James Comer and Byron Donalds and all the other fucking idiots on the on this impeachment inquiry group. That's it. That's all you need to know. Zlochevsky was trying to keep Shokin in the job because he had him on a short leash. He knew what his price was, and he was willing to pay it. After they scuttled the investigation that was already ham-handed and wouldn't have gone anywhere because Shokin made sure, and then they started a new one, and Zlochevsky had to flee the fucking country. He's now a citizen of Cyprus, and nobody's seen him in years. So, just clarifying that for anybody, and when this clip goes out to our dear friends in the media, who I will send this to, stop it. Stop. You have this document. This actually exists. It completely undermines this bullshit, silly talking point. It's a farce. Stop. It's like the 1997 Russia-NATO founding agreement. Which destroys the entire, we had to invade Ukraine because NATO expansion. Buzz off. You're welcome. Like, subscribe, give a thumbs up, support the show. We're at like 56.7. We're almost at 57K. We're getting there. And real people, I might add, not these dummies that you sometimes see. I'm just saying. Anyways, hi, chat room. By the way, you guys are wonderful. Good to see you this morning. How are you? Again, much love to the family of Anita Blake. We lost her yesterday, and if you weren't around, she's a regular in our chat room and a lovely person, and she passed away yesterday. And so just want to send some more love out to her and her family, her spirit, and wherever it finds itself. Yeah. How do I subscribe? Well, Nancy, thanks for asking. First of all, you can follow on the Facebook page because that's where you are. But you can also just go to infotainmentwars.com, which will take you to the YouTube page, and you can subscribe there. Yeah. Does that work? That help? Okay. That said, okay, lots more to cover today. Besides the fact that I've just burned down the weakest lie that they are posting. Anyways, I also posted that on Shitter in a couple of forums. Just for the record, and whoops, let me open this guy up. Hold on a second. Open up you silly thing. I posted that on Shitter if you guys want to re-shit it, to everybody, and especially tag people in the press with it if you would. Somebody, on a show like I did Randy Rhodes and I did Tom Hartman and Stephanie Miller, so that they would have access not only to that little, cartoonish version of the document, but I also linked the entire document in the next tweet. So, any pushback? None. Zero. Because, I don't know. Honest to God, I have no idea how they would. Seriously, what are you going to push back on? The fact that November is it in 2015? Did November come after December that 1 year? Is that how it worked? So the other thing that I think is particularly cool, and we'll just bring this up just to annoy them, while the Republicans are shitting the bed everywhere, Biden has announced $9 billion in student debt relief as the payments resume, which they were going to do. He cannot, by any means, with the stroke of a pen, eliminate everyone's student debt. Anyone who tells you that is a fucking liar. And they are intending to set Democrats and specifically Biden up for a fall by presenting the stroke of the pen fallacy, that the idea that he could just fix it like that and fuck it, he can just do it. So if he can just do it, then there's only two reasons why he isn't doing it. One, he doesn't know because he's stupid, or two, he's evil and would rather everybody be, broke and afraid and blah blah blah. And so that's a lie. And anybody who does that is categorically they're cruel. I would say they're cruel because that is the goal. You are creating a false ethical outlet for someone where they can kind of, this one simple thing would make you a good person, when that thing in and of itself is not real and does not exist on Earth 1. And by insisting that it does, the only real option is that the person isn't doing it because it's so easy. The only reason they wouldn't be doing it is because they're evil. And so anybody who does that is a fucking asshole and cruel. It's very TYT. It's very, and for the record, we've got the GOP mantra, which I posted today, which of course is government can't do anything right, elect me and I'll prove it. And then you've got the TYT mantra, which is, of course, if we don't get everything, nobody gets anything. And it's no surprise that they had Matt Gaetz on their show, because they think the same way. It might be about different priorities, but the philosophy is exactly the same. So, and again, I would argue that if you can't get everything, then your only goal must be to kill anything, right? I mean, if you're going to turn that stroke of the pen fallacy back on itself, right? So, anyways, Biden administration on Wednesday announced another $9 billion of student loan forgiveness through fixes in to its debt relief programs. The relief comes on the heels of student loan payments resuming for millions of borrowers for after more than a 3-year pause. With the latest announcement, the Biden administration has now forgiven $127 billion of student debt for roughly 3.6 million borrowers. The White House said in a press release that $9 billion will help 125,000 borrowers. Of those, 53,000 borrowers will receive relief under the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program, which wipes out student loan balance of public service workers who have worked for 10 years and made 120 qualifying payments. About 51,000 will get relief via an income-driven repayment plan. This will apply to people who have worked for 20 or more years but never received the debt forgiveness they were entitled to. Roughly 22,000 borrowers will have a total or permanent disability will also receive the relief. Today's announcement builds on everything our administration has already done to protect students from unaffordable debt, making repayment more affordable, and ensure that investments in higher education pay off. Cool. Doing everything he can and nothing he can't, while everybody else is like, but why doesn't he just wave the magic wand? It's in a box behind his desk. Where's the magic wand? It's in your ass. That's where it is. Fuck off. Just say it. Hold on one second. Is this in here? Where did it go?
Moon River.
Yeah. Yay. So, just a nice little addition, if I do say so my damn self, right? And the GOP is they're freaking out. Meanwhile, hey, you want to see a freak out? Hold on one second. I don't know if I have the whole thing, but I think we have. He walks out. This is here. Hold on. Let's move this up. Trump is playing the accordion, the mime accordion in front of the fucking courthouse again today. And they talk about, people brought up the idea of like, would he be Speaker of the House? Well, ladies and gentlemen, here we go.
Your own work. The clause tells them, do your own due diligence, do your own work. That's where we are. And I got sued. And I hear I may be guilty of a lot for no reason.
I got sued and I may be guilty of a lot for no reason.
They give a lot of money for something where there was nothing wrong.
All right, this is fucking gibberish. I gotta find a cleaner version of this, because holy hell. Oh, there's two of me. Oh, the cat cam's on. Sorry, one second. Boop. There you go. I had to swap out the cat cam because Chip came in here and he knocked it over. Sorry, I had pushed the button earlier. It's my fault. Anyways, it's hot Hal on Hal action. It could be worse. Give me 1 second. I'll go back to here real quick. And let's see. Trump trial day 3 remarks. Maybe. Let's see. Yeah, here you go. This will probably be, hopefully this will be better. Hold on. I'll open it in here.
How is Melania, Mr. President?
Oh, how's Melania? Wait a minute. That's when he's walking away. Plans to testify. That's day 2. Trump live day 3. Back in court for day 3. Let's see if this is. Try to find the moment he walks in. Nope, just him. Just where is he? I'm trying to dig up a better version of the for the audio on that one because it sucks. And then people are like, there's like mini clips of it, but not him actually like the full thing. To take a witness and rise court for day 3. Is this it? Let's see if he walks in. There we go. Hold on. This might be better. Open this up in here. This is him walking in and waving at people through the. It's weird that he's not covering his head with a jacket. But this is him arriving at the courthouse.
We have a prosecutor, Letitia James, who's incompetent, and what she's doing to our state, forcing companies out by the thousands, forcing people out, forcing companies out by the thousands while.
Well, that's just because you have thousands of LLCs. I mean, I wouldn't bring that up if you're trying to make the case that the Biden family having 20 LLCs, having come from Delaware where they like hand them out when you're born, isn't a good look if you're trying to.
Crime and violent crime in particular runs rampant. So this.
It's down 19% this year already.
Witch hunt does not allow me a jury. A lot of people say, oh, that can't be possible. Somebody didn't check a box. It has nothing to do with it.
Oh, it's gotten back to him that it was Alina Habba's fault that he doesn't have a jury trial.
Under 6312, you are not entitled to a jury. It's the first time it's ever been used for a purpose like this. Never been used. They used it on me, the former president.
Oh, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau? Yeah, that's because it's new. Thanks, Obama.
Leading candidate. I'm leading Joe Biden by a lot, which is probably why this is all happening. Not probably. Boy, it's definitely. They're coordinating with Washington.
Why would they coordinate with Washington? I mean, I guess they're there. You know what I mean? Can you coordinate with where? Well, I guess he's coordinating with his diaper. I'm coordinating with cat hair all over the place. It makes sense.
100%. But without that, none of these cases would be going on.
Well, you did commit the actual crimes, though. I mean, he does have sort of a point in that they were letting him get away with this shit for a long time. But again, you step out into the sun, you're in for some. You better put on some sunscreen.
They've weaponized justice in our country.
It's a good phrase. They've workshopped that one, weaponizing justice.
This trial is a disgrace. Never happened. A thing like this has never happened before, and just simply.
Well, yeah, because we've never had a mango dipshit like you as president. So, of course, congratulations.
I put in financial statements with a disclaimer. In other words, don't even bother reading them.
I'm a liar. I told you I was a liar. You knew I was a snake. when you took me in. Oh, foolish woman. Why did you? My financial statements bit you in the boob.
Banks. I borrowed money on very under leverage. Borrowed money on a building or something. Many
Or something. I don't remember. It's been so long.
different things. I borrowed the money, I paid back the money in full, 100%.
Plus or minus 4 bankruptcies.
There were no defaults, there were no letters of reprimand. The banks were extremely happy, and in many cases, I paid the money back early.
Well, you had to buy your way out of the bankruptcy protection, so you had to like use other funds from other people to pay them off.
Then I got sued years later by this horrible attorney general, this woman that ran for governor and failed. You know, she did this because she was running for governor. And then she ran and she failed. She had no polls and they forced her out. And she came back and she became attorney general again. And we got stuck with her.
We got stuck with her. Well, I mean, you could have fled New York a long time ago when is there a meter where once it crosses the line, you're like, I'm getting into the area where they're going to prosecute me. We're getting into Al Capone territory at this point. If we go much further, they have to come after me. All right, let's move to Florida. Oh wait, that's exactly what he fucking
She
did.
brought the case under the statute that had never been used for a thing like this before, ever. Where I'm not entitled to a jury. Because if I had a jury, even though it's in New York, and I think I'd be fine with New York, but if I had a jury, we'd win this case very easily. But I don't have a jury.
Right, we know. You could have had one for at least part of it, but your attorney just said, nah.
You see what's happening. This is a railroading, and it's the beginning of communism in our country. This is
Yes, this is how communism starts. Communists. If I can say anything about communists, is that they want regular order business to be on the up and up. It's all about regulations with them, making sure that buying and borrowing and lending are all on the up and up.
the beginning of communism.
I thought we were, by the way, weren't we? We watched these. I won't call them rallies anymore because they're kind of crowd size doesn't even qualify in that. But we watched some of these. Didn't he say we were already in? We went straight through socialism. We're already in communism. I guess we've moved a couple steps back. That's good news. You know what I mean? We've walked back from the precipice.
So we're going back in, playing the game, we're doing everything right. But just you remember, I borrow money, the statements were perfect. Not only perfect, the statements are much more conservative than my real net worth. My real net worth is much higher.
Yeah, it's magic. My real net worth is $1 kajillion, bazillion, bazillion dollars.
Much higher than the statements. So I put the statements in. They don't use the statements because
because they're bullshit anyways,
it
right?
has a disclaimer clause. They do their own work. The clause tells them, do your own due diligence, do your own work. And that's where we are. And I got sued. And I hear I may be guilty of a lot for no reason. They may give a lot of money.
They may give a lot of money. You mean give you a giant fine for a lot of money? They're not going to give you money. I don't know what you think, the woke DAs are like in New York, but I guarantee you they are not paying white collar criminals to crime.
Something where there was nothing wrong. This is a witch hunt. This is just a continuation of the witch hunt that started the day I came down the escalator in Trump Tower.
Well, I consider yourself warned then.
And it's a shame for our country.
No, the country's okay. I think the rest of us are all right. It's a little annoying, but I mean, it's not Nixon resigning. You're not even in office anymore. I don't give a rat fuck. You're not the president. You're a private citizen. Shit happens.
You borrow money, you pay it back.
Do you, though?
The bank loves us. They said, what did he do wrong? He didn't do anything wrong. We loaned him money, a big bank. These are big banks. By the way, represented by the biggest law firms, the most prestigious, the best law firms in the country.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I understand. the cartels have great lawyers too.
You borrow money, you pay it back, and you get sued by a political animal.
He's picking his words very carefully today, isn't he?
And that's where we are. And that's the way it goes.
And that's the way it goes. That's a really good show coming up today in the courtroom with Leinard Skynard.
That's why New York State is failing, and that's why companies are leaving by the thousands. I'll see you later.
Well, technically speaking, the vast majority of the companies that quote-unquote left New York were because of deaths that occurred during COVID, which you said would be handled very quickly, and Xi Jinping was doing a very professional job, and you spoke to him all the time, and he was doing it.
Speaker!
Who should be speaker?
Who should be speaker, Mr. President?
A lot of people have been calling me about speaker. All I can say is we'll do whatever's best for the country and for the Republican Party.
Would you take a job?
Great people.
Would you take a job?
We have some great, great people.
Would you take a job?
A lot of people have asked me about it. I'm focused. You know, we're leading. I don't know you. I'm sure you don't read too much in the papers. So we're leading by like 50 points for president. You know.
Amongst your own party, which you won with 90% of the vote last time. You're down by 40 points from where you were in 2020.
My focus is totally
in your own party.
that. If I can help them during the process, I would do it. But we have some great people in the Republican Party that could do a great job as speaker.
They're great. They're great people like Jimmy McSo-and-so and Faking McUnderpants and Dipshit McHenry and Goofball What's his name? He doesn't know any of these.
Well, what about
Marjorie
you?
Taylor Greene called for you to be speaker yesterday. Would you accept?
Yeah, I think she's a wonderful woman, Marjorie. And a lot of other people have told me that too. I'll do whatever it is to help, but my focus, my total focus is being president and
Yeah, you're not president. Yeah, you're not. You're keep focusing on it though. I mean, look, I would just think if you're having a Peter Pan moment, all I ask is that you take off from the ground. Don't try to. If you think you can fly, take off from the ground.
but honestly, making America great again, because we are living in a country in decline. This is a country that's failing badly. We're not respected in the world.
No, we're all right. We're actually a lot of people. I mean, obviously the bullshit with the Republicans right now is a bit of a mark, but
Interest rates are through the roof, taxes are through the roof, inflation is horrible. What it's done to us, it's eating us alive. Energy is now over $5.
energy is $5
It was at $1.87.
when no one was going anywhere.
It's over $5. What's happened to our
It's amazing. It's almost like there's a lot of demand for gasoline and people are willing to pay that price because everybody's got someplace to go now.
country with Afghanistan, that horrible removal, the most embarrassing moment, I think, in our
Yeah, if you have to keep bringing it up, then it wasn't.
country's history. So I'm running for president. I'm up by 40 and 50 points and more in some cases. But whatever I can do to help with regard to speaker is good. By the way, I'm also leading Biden by a lot. If I wasn't, I wouldn't have trials like this. Thank you very much. Thank
How
you.
is Melania, Mr. President? Your family's going through a
Great.
lot.
How's Melania? Great. Yeah, I buy it. And into court he goes, a miserable fuck with dust on his nose. God. Yeah, he made the mess in Afghanistan. Completely true. He set up the exit and then did none of the planning for it, and it's just stupid. I mean, yeah. That said, let's see if there's. Are they? Yeah. See, they just all of these things. There is literally just like a live camera feed outside in case the judge. They just keep rolling. Just in case Trump walks out and says something. So anybody sees one of those things, let me know. That said, let me do this real quick, and I need to open another window. There we go. I have to bring this over here so that I can, if and when Phil arrives on time, we'll get him in here. We're a couple minutes away. Whoops, wrong page. There we go. I clicked on the wrong thing, and I'm fine. It's all right. We're okay. And then we'll turn on my virtual camera so people will be able to see me, and then turn on the audio. Now I can hear him when he's coming, and I can talk to you guys, and it's fantastic. So yeah, how's Melania's kidneys? She felt really good almost after taking it. What? So, let's see. The also, what's trending right now is kind of a mess. Oh, okay. So this is the thing we got to cover though, because I fucking love this. Just so you know, at let's see. At 11:20, 20 minutes after my show is over today, the emergency alert system is going to test on everybody's system. And at that point, we're all going to turn into zombies. If you have been vaccinated, according to the Cubanons, the Q-nuts, we are we're all going to turn into zombies. We're all going to get Marburg, which, if you ever read the book Hot Zone, was the slightly more contagious version of Ebola that everybody was afraid of during the early 90s for a while. So yeah, yes, a magnetic zombie. Excellent point. So not only will you be a zombie, but if you walk by a car, you'll just go whank and stick to it. And then I don't know how you're gonna, I don't know, what do you do to peel yourself off? I guess you just lay there and rot. Yeah. Yeah, put on your best outfit, because you will be in that outfit forever. Yeah. So I figured, as a zombie, this is what I should be wearing when I'm just like, and I would like to say, for the record, let's be abundantly clear. Nothing, obviously this is a bunch of silliness. None of this is, let's see, there you go. Hold on 1 second. Why is that not working? Let me see. Hold on. I gotta close this and reopen it, I guess. Yep, the alert system's gonna trigger all the 5G in the country, and then we're all fucked. It's terrible. I don't know why. Oh, and I gotta, that's why. Checking something. Sorry, I'm trying to make something work, as you do. Weird. Okay. It's just an error. It's just going to deal. Okay. Can't do it today. All right. House Parks of the Kitty. Thanks, Javier. I'm glad you like that. I have to find the clip of Trump saying the kidney has a special place in the heart, so people understand. CSL sent it to me. It's just, I don't know which folder it's in. I lost it in there somewhere, and I got so much stuff. But also, we are, how many days? We're 8 days away from the computer. Oh, it's coming. Oh, I'm so excited, don't you know? But let's look at this, shall we now? Look at the craziness that is happening on Elon Musk's shitter. The frequency war. October 4th, 2020. Emergency alert system part 2 frequency war. October emergency alert. Oh my God, the frequencies are coming. By the way, she looks really healthy. On the emergency alert system, I find it awfully odd that they appear to be doing the test for ES on the very same day that the Russians are doing a test of the ES. What the you think that's about? I think it's the other way around. I think the Russians sent you that talking point. How about that? Meanwhile, this is when the Jasara starts. Also, this lady wants you to know that if you've had the jab, when the emergency alert system goes off, your teeth are going to shuffle. Okay, so let's hear what the story is. I want to know the details.
Buddy, we're Sunday the 24th.
Yep, day before my birthday. That's Believe me, everybody gets their shit together before my birthday. It's just important.
Of September, sorry. Just wanted to say that it's very important to take all your electronical things,
Your electronical things.
anything that can have Bluetooth, smart TV, smartphone, anything that is smart, that can
Yes, obviously, what you want to do if you're in the QAnon thing is avoid anything that's smart. I know but that seems the exact opposite. Nope, it's right in line with the brand. And as a matter of fact, every time, all the time, you should avoid anything that's smart. It will pollute the purity of your misunderstanding of the world the way the Lord wants you.
can get a signal from the, sorry, that can get a signal from
A single?
the 5G towers, which, by the way, should be put down.
Yeah, I agree. Got to get rid of those 5G towers. Also, are my fillings okay? I had them replaced. I had metal fillings since I was a kid because I grew up, in the 70s. And I got those replaced, all but one. I still got one metal filling that I want to get changed out. I just haven't gotten around to it yet. And mainly for movie's sake. I hate when people open their mouths in a movie that took place before they were filling people's teeth with metal, and you can see that they've got that. I think that's a mistake. But will I be able to pick up radio? You know what? I hear them already. I don't even know why I'm
Everywhere, the 5G towers, because on the 4th of October, they're going to send a signal from there that can destroy everyone.
Oh, well, gosh, that seems pretty definitive. So you're not giving yourself any wiggle room in case it doesn't work out? They're gonna send out a signal, and if people have any devices around them that have can get a signal from the 5G towers, you'll be destroyed. Okay. Sure. I mean, hey, kids, we may not be having an afternoon show, and if I do have an afternoon show, I may be gnawing on the camera the entire time, going brains. But I'm committed to doing the show this afternoon, even if I have turned into a 5G zombie. Okay, I'm just saying.
So what you should do is take aluminum foil.
Aluminum foil. I can't get any of that. They're all sold out. Aluminum. That's even worse than the pronunciation that the Brits do, assholes. Aluminum foil. Yes, and coat your genitals with it.
And wrap them up and put them in your vehicle 200 meters away from your home.
Your TVs, your Wi-Fi router, your computer, your phone, your Apple Watch, your GPS system, half your kids' toys, your kids' Switch, all of them. I hope you have a big car.
And also take a place in your house, a room in your house, and put a
coat the walls with tinfoil.
Aluminum foil 2-3 times layers in that place. And
right. Now hold on. Wait, hang out a second. This sounds very familiar. Let's see. Try to find this. Hold on. One second. I know I'm gonna find a good picture of it. Give me a second. Guess it's just gonna be the kitchen shot. I guess it's gonna stuck with. Yep. Okay. It'll do. Yeah, I'm gonna open this image in new tab and then go plus. This would be, I think they're just interviewing him in this one, but this is from the movie Conspiracy Theory. This is Mel Gibson's apartment in Conspiracy Theory, and the walls are completely covered in tinfoil. The whole place, remember? And it's debatable as to whether his character does that for, to block, I don't know, radio waves or whatever, or if he does it so that when he burns the place down, it will minimize the extent of the fire and keep it isolated to the place so he can do a burn on his house. So, just saying, that would be I'm just saying that, absolutely, Linda, big hug. So where were we? Back to Cuckoo for the Cocoa Puffs. Hello, lady, you're crazy as you can be. What's happening to you, you loony, loony lady? Where'd she go? There she is. Okay, we're back here. Now we go back to our regularly scheduled lunacy. By the way, I'm fairly certain that I could say without any hesitation whatsoever, Trump voter. If she shows up at the booth at all, because they can track it.
Stay there from the 4th to the 5th of October.
Okay, so 24 hours in your tinfoil room. Don't come out. You should bring a bucket, I think. Bring a bucket of chicken. Then you'll have something to eat. And then you can fill the bucket 6 hours later.
And also, you should have get a heavy metal detox.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah! I recommend going to see Metallica live. That's my heavy metal detox. Or if you can't afford the tickets or they're not coming near you, whatever, I would just play Ride the Lightning, that album, top to bottom. That's my heavy metal detox.
Because all the chemtrails that they've been spreading have aluminum, and it is...
Oh, so are they trying to do to the earth what you're trying to do to your house, that room in your house? So maybe it's aliens coming in and the government's actually the good guys?
Proven. If you don't believe me, just swipe your vehicle, put that dust on a paper, take an element, and put it underneath, and you'll see all the aluminum that sticks to it. So
yeah, all that dust that's on your car, that's aluminum.
You have to have a detox, a heavy metal detox.
Heavy metal detox!
You can get the...
Yeah!
Just look it up. You can get the pills in pharmacies and natural product places. And
yeah, natural product places. Also, you're okay sending people to pharmacies? You do realize they have substances made by Pfizer there. I'm just throwing that out there. I didn't want to, none of my business.
And
but,
on Amazon. So that's...
Right. Well, trust in blessed Bezos. Anything that arrives in a brown box on your doorstep is completely trustworthy as long as it doesn't come from the government.
That's all I had to say, and I hope you have all a nice day.
Yeah, just have a nice day before you're turned into a zombie. Now, this woman, Gina Shira, who, by the way, just started her account in July. Let's be abundantly clear that a lot of these accounts are either people driven by, psyops done by Russia and China, or they are those things themselves. Just for the record, they start these accounts and then they just pour this shit out and then they vanish. It's stupid. Is this the Simpsons predicting something? Okay, facts about October 4th from the horse's mouth. Oh, I don't know why she's calling her. If a nationwide test, wireless emergency, the test will happen at 2:20 Eastern Time.
Look here about this whole October 4th thing, and I'm currently looking at the FEMA and FCC plan nationwide emergency alert test for October 4th.
So you trust government sources. Okay, cool.
Document on the FEMA website. Now, what I find very interesting is that there will be 3 tests done at once.
I see that. Well, I mean, while they got the finger in there, they might as well root around. Just, if it matters to you, it matters to me. Where is this?
You using the whole fist, Doc?
Yeah.
Yeah, grab something to drink. spend a couple minutes with me.
Oh, yeah. To grab something to drink, that came out of a tap.
Okay, so the national
Also, nice mug. Not weird at all. Not covered in, odd QAnon psychedelia.
test will consist of 2 portions, testing the WEA, which is the wireless emergency alerts, and EAS capabilities, which is the emergency alert system. Both begin about 2.
Which, by the way, the emergency alert system is what sends the signal. And one of the places it would go is to the wireless alert system. Therefore, you can't test one without the other because it's playing the sound from the emergency alert system. They're just sending it out over two other sources.
2:20 p.m. Why 2:20? That's weird. Eastern Standard Time on Wednesday, October 4th.
Probably some Freemason thing. Beep, 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 boo, beep, boo. Sorry. I'm fucking with these people.
Excuse me. The WEA portion, so the wireless emergency alerts, will be directed to all consumer cell phones.
So I guess professional cell phones, not so much.
This will be the 3rd nationwide test, but the 2nd test to all cellular devices. The test message will display in either English or in Spanish, depending on the language settings of the wireless handset.
Oh my God, how do they know?
The EAS portion of the test, so the emergency alert system, will be sent to radios and televisions.
Bow now, boom, 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 wow, wow. Oh, everything's weird. How do all right. I don't. Yes, yeah, we've had these before. Have you ever had a fucking thunderstorm or a flood alert in your fucking neighborhood? What are you talking about?
This will be the 7th nationwide EAS test.
7, because carry the 3 ends up at a 1, 17, which is Q, the 17th letter in the boom.
FEMA and FCC are coordinating with EAS participants, wireless providers, emergency
like fucking adults,
managers, and
Sally Jesse Raphael has fallen so far. I miss her.
Other stakeholders in preparation for this national test to minimize confusion and to maximize the public safety value of the test.
How ironic, considering it's going to turn us all into monsters. All right.
The purpose of the October 4th test
is to distract people while we put brain-altering chemicals in their tea.
Is to ensure that the systems continue to be effective about warning the public of emergencies, particularly those on the national level, in case the October 4th test is postponed due to widespread severe weather or other significant events.
Because you can't fake warn people while you need to real warn people.
The backup testing date is October 11th. That was very specific, right?
Yeah, it's not slapdash. This is emergency preparedness, fuckhead. The whole point is to think ahead. They're picking these exact dates to do this stuff, and then they've got a fallback date if there's something wrong with the other. Oh, okay, I see.
Okay, so all of you worried about how long the signal will last, beginning at approximately...
I'm not worried. Oh, Phil's here with us though. He's just in time for the conspiracy, which I think is great. Give me 1 second. I'll bring him in.
Bend over, Mr. Babar.
There we go. I'm very concerned, but I'm also very excited. Hold on 1 second. Copy this link and get him in here. Obviously, this the 5G towers will, of course, go off in Ukraine so that they can mind control the Nazis and send them over. And ladies and gentlemen, I bring to the show our dear friend Philip Bittner, joining us live from Kiev. How are you, brother? Can you hear me okay?
Good. Yep. Can you hear me?
Yes, you sound great. Good to see you, brother.
Cool.
How you doing?
Cool.
And are you prepared?
What is this silliness?
So the QAnons think that the emergency alert system test that's going to happen today at 11:20 my time is going to the 5G waves are going to activate nanoparticles in your vaccinated people and turn them into zombies. Now, I'm like many of you. I was very disappointed. I was supposed to be a zombie in August of last year. If you'll recall, these assholes said we'd all be zombies last year, and then it didn't happen, and I was very upset. And I'm genuinely going to be pissed if it doesn't happen this time. I mean, how long do I have to wait?
I've been preparing my brains au jus.
Yeah, that's right. I've got him in black butter. I've got him marinating. I've been marinating my own internal organs.
Barbara,
they're coming to get you, Barbara. Right. So yeah, it's pretty great, and I have to say, I'm excited about 11:30 my time, and that's because that will be 10 minutes after everybody didn't turn into zombies. And so, like I said, 2012, the movie went from being an action thriller to a comedy on January 1st, 2013. And in many ways, these kind of predictions are chef's kiss fun.
Yeah, the ones with dates on them.
Oh yeah.
So much.
It's like the guy, there was this preacher who kept predicting the end of the world over and over and over again, and he kept moving the date and using like bad math as his excuse. He kept going, fuck, I forgot to carry the 2. It's not May 31st, it's October 31st. That's my bad. And he did this a couple times, and ultimately on the 4th try, he had a heart attack, which just leads me to believe that if you predict the end of the world long enough, you will eventually, it'll happen, but in a very localized way.
Well, I mean, it is the Mormons and the the dooms spreaders who, it's when they put a date on it. You're right. You're absolutely right. That's when the fun starts.
Yes.
Because then and then when it doesn't happen, they'll kick the can down.
Look
the
at
road.
Warren Jeffs, man.
Oh no,
yeah, Warren Jeffs, the head of the polygamous the polygamous Mormon cult. That dude who was like. That picture started circulating him kissing a 12-year-old girl because he had like 60 wives and all this shit, and they were driven out of Utah, and then they went to Texas and all that kind of shit. I don't know if people seen the documentary. It's on Netflix. But one of his biggest fail, honest to God, was predicting the end of the world. If this motherfucker hadn't gotten into the predicting the end of the world thing and just said, what was it, Matthew 25:12, I think it was. No man shall know the hour nor the day, not even the son shall know, only the Father in heaven. So even pretending to know is sinful. So why bother? Just go, it could happen any second. Better be ready. And I'm the guy to be ready with. And we'll soldier through this and better ourselves, and we'll spread the great word forever and ever. Happy. And the Lord will.
Didn't Musk lean in on this? Or who did? Somebody put out a tweet the last 24 hours about this test
about
of
5G
emergency broadcasting. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure he's
not as high as Musk, but somebody was out there like, this is.
If you're Musk, I got to say, if you're Elon Musk, there's a good reason for doing that because it drives up bullshit traffic on Twitter. Like, you create. Sure. I mean, what's he got to lose? That another dumb, ridiculous 24-hour idiot flu happens, right? So I at that point, I think he just benefits from it. He can sell more ads because people get on there and go, what is this shit? I mean, people aren't getting on there for clear, concise, and truthful information anymore. You're right. So the only thing that draws them is like, what's this bullshit? Right? That's really it.
Well, yeah, I appear to be shadow banned on whatever that platform is. Yeah,
it's the deep state. Deep state.
No, I put out a vlog. Was it yesterday? Today is Wednesday. Yes, it was yesterday.
Right.
So I put out a vlog, and then when I do is when I put out a vlog, I'll put links and stuff on Twitter and all the rest of it.
Right.
And somebody got back in touch with me about it and was like, yeah, I was trying to get in touch with you about your vlog, and for some reason I can't answer you, and there's something wrong with your handle, and it looks like you're shadow banned. And
it's almost as if he's attacking pro Ukrainian channels on there and is feeding this right-wing noise machine that supports Vladimir Putin, like everyone has said is happening and is clear to anybody who watches. Well,
he didn't make any friends here with his latest meme of Zelensky portrayed as kind of like a drug addict,
right? Like with the neck bulge,
veins popping, veins popping off,
right.
popping out, like stressed out, going through withdrawals kind of meme. And Musk said, what happens when you haven't, in the last 5 minutes, you haven't asked for billions of more aid assistance.
Right.
And the general consensus here was go fuck yourself.
Right. Yeah. Fuck that dude. Agreed.
There's been a lot of backlash against that meme. A lot of backlash.
And that will continue. I really do think we're at a certain point where Elon Musk is overstaying his welcome on every front. Tesla sales are down. The traffic and the ad rev at Twitter is taking a shit. There's an argument that if he keeps this shit up, he'll lose his that Bezos will basically snipe his SpaceX contract for rockets, because once they've got the license to use these, like take the boosters that they got from SpaceX that land, there's nothing else he can do that's not cosmetic, and it wasn't his design anyways. So yeah. Anyways, catch us up on how you are, by the way. Happy Wednesday. Hello. And
hello.
And what's the scuttle butt right now?
Well, I haven't really been watching the news today. I just did a quick kind of read through before I came to talk to you.
Right.
I've been running around doing my own stuff, trying to set up some interviews and some vlogs for the future. So. And then I'm also considering a quick break because I need to get out and do some stuff. So
yeah,
I need to get back to where I can get reliable access to the post, I have a mailbox in London that I can have stuff sent to. So
right.
But getting mail in Ukraine is it's possible, but it's not easy, and it takes a long time for the mail to show up here. Or that's been my experience. I know other people that have different experiences, but so I'm starting to think maybe at the end of October to, take a quick week and just pop out and go to London. But aside from that, I've been continuing to work on material that I filmed out in Odessa last week.
Right.
As I say, I put out a vlog yesterday about an American Ukrainian journalist friend of mine, and I went to this open air market in Odessa, which is, because of the status as a port city, it's a really vibrant place with lots of produce and stuff that normally actually would be the byproduct of being a port, and it would be ultimately the kind of stuff that was skimmed off, for local consumption before being put onto a tanker and sent to the global market. But that's not happening properly right now. So, but anyhow, my friend and I kind of walk through the market, and we talk about both the situation with the market in terms of what's happening in this time of war, but also just kind of like, what's it like to go to a Ukrainian market? What's it like to just be, despite the air raid sirens and the threat of attack, how do Odessans carry on with their normal lives? And so we go and we taste some food, we talk, talk to the locals at the market. So I put that out, and then I've got another one with an artist, a very prominent Ukrainian artist. I hope to have out in the next week or so. I mean, these vlogs are turning out to be, it's a labor of love. There's a lot of editing that goes into it. So I've got the next one with this Ukrainian artist, and then I have a one after that involving the Odessan Opera House, and then I'm setting up things here in Kiev, interviews and potential kind of vlogs. But also considering a quick out to kind of take care of some life stuff that I need to do.
Yeah. So understood. I have not left in roughly a year. Yeah. It's a little bit over a year, actually. August of last year was the last time I was out of Ukraine. So it's overdue. When is Sexy Liberal in October
LA?
21st.
So in about 3 weeks.
Yeah, and the
2.5
20th,
weeks.
the night before, Nerd Halen is playing the Hard Rock in Vegas, and so I will be doing a regular promo for that coming up as well. But yeah, the night before
We have
Vegas, Hard Rock, and then followed immediately by that. Yeah.
Cool. We have some stuff going on here this weekend. It's there's some events going on around town, which I'll wait to tell more about it. But there's kind of a big event coming up this weekend. But aside from that, yeah, I have not. I have to admit, in the last like 24 hours, I've not been glued to news feeds or stuff like that.
It looks like to me, from what I've been seeing, the big one I think really was the first launch of the S400s, S500.
I saw that. Yeah.
Which
hit
is
they hit one out near Belgorod. I think they hit.
Yeah,
that.
They modified these missiles. Please shut down the speaker rumor again. What, that Trump's going to be speaker? Somebody in the chat room say, yeah, he's not going to be speaker. That's silly.
Speaker of the House?
Yeah, he's not. He's not going to take a job where he has to do any fucking work.
No, of course not. He'd actually have to show up.
Yeah.
He'd physically have to be there, and there's no.
That's right. That's right. So, anyways, the use of those missiles is enormous, and will play a major factor in it. But also, I'm going to see if I can pull up the map. They've moved past the Ukrainians have moved past down in the Volodar area, and they've moved past the trenches. They're fully inside now, and I guess all they have to do is keep that pathway open, and then clear and push and clear and push and clear and push. And that seems to be what they're doing right now. And they're being careful about it, which is smart. But at certain points, they're going to have to do a sort of a bum rush.
We'll see. I don't know. We'll see. It depends on whether or not they're. I don't know if they're going to. Well, we'll see. We'll see what we got. About another month left.
Yep.
Give or take, of the tail end of summer going into fall. We're already we get to the first week in November, and that's normally when things get muddy and ucky and all the rest of it. Now that doesn't mean it's going to stop. I mean, Budanov, the head of military intelligence, has said repeatedly that the fighting will continue through the winter, and I'm sure it will. Will they get a major success like seizing Tokmak or getting within firing distance of the land bridge? Right. I think getting within firing distance of the land bridge is absolutely a possibility. But we'll see. We'll see. I don't know. Seizing Tokmak. That's possible. It depends on the local population there. It depends on whether or not the Russians, try and turn it into the next Bakhmut, which I don't know if they have the resources to do. I don't know if they can repeat Bakhmut, frankly, the Russians.
No,
but we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
So a couple of the big breakout things that have happened to catch people up right away, and I'll get your comment on them. Of course, is that Ukraine hit the S-400 anti-air system in mainland Russia for the first time with their own missiles. And this is from Focuser. An SBU source told Kiev Post they had some advice for Russia to think about renaming the Triumph anti-aircraft system, 2 of which have been taken out in 1 month. Strike drones operated by...
You're reading my buddy Stefan's article.
That's right. That's Stefan Korshak. Yeah.
My buddy Stefan.
Well, there you go.
I one of these days I should set up a time for Stefan to come and have a chat. He's a great guy. He's a very good journalist. He's former U.S. Army. He's married to a Ukrainian woman. He has 2 kids, Ukrainian American kids. His son is serving in the U.S. Army. He's just he's a good guy, and has he got solid contact. So if he is saying that that's what the SBU is saying, I would
Cool.
I'd put money on that.
Excellent. Well, that's the scuttlebutt from them as far as that they've hit 2 out of 3 of these systems, and they're running out of them
And
quick.
in like 2 weeks.
Yeah,
like
right.
2 or 3
less
weeks
than a month
as well. Yeah,
and then
like 2 of them, and that's not good for them. That's a very expensive system.
Let's see. And there's another one about Russia's Crimean Red Line has been erased. Claims about the territory's spiritual status have been revealed to be fiction. In December 2014, Russian President Vladimir Putin stood in the middle of Kremlin's St. George's Hall, delivered his annual address. 9 months removed from his formal annexation of Crimea, the president unspooled a historic view of Crimea's supposed importance to the Russian body politic. Crimea, as Putin claimed, was far more than simply a wayward chunk of rightfully Russian land. Rather, it was the spiritual source of the entire Russian nation, a province that presented invaluable civilizational and even sacral importance for all Russians. The language mirrored, blah, blah, blah. At the time, very few people disagreed. And now, in the face of continued drone attacks, long-range missile fires, sabotage operations, annihilation of military assets across Crimea, Russians have hardly treated the Ukrainian peninsula as some sort of sacred land. Rather than rushing to protect Crimea, Russians have instead been fleeing the region en masse. Rather than seeing Russians lining up to enlist to aid Kremlin's defense of the peninsula, Moscow continues mooting the potential of a second and far more broader mobilization to bring people into fight to retain Crimea. It's an excellent point from somebody who's like...
It's a very good point. I would take issue with a couple of points in that having Russians leave Crimea does not mean that they do not see it as a very important part of their identity. Because again, and we've talked about this, I mean, Crimea as Crimea and Odessa as Russia's foothold on the Black Sea, and then also Novorossiya and Sochi. But really, when it comes to geopolitical power, Crimea and Odessa are the things that Russia has always considered its fundament. It's a cornerstone that it has on the Black Sea, and then ultimately on the global trade routes and access to the open sea. And also historically, it's very important for its sense of like empire. They conquered the Crimean Tatars. They're very big on how Catherine took the place without a shot fired. And then there's a whole like history of what Crimea and the Black Sea means to Russian identity. There's no mistake. There's no mistake that the prevailing architecture in both Crimea and in Odessa is kind of Romanesque, because they see themselves as the third Rome. They talk about this all the time, that Moscow is the third Rome, and that they are the inheritors of Byzantium, Eastern Roman culture, that they're the inheritors of it. And so they look on Crimea and Odessa as their kind of like Mediterranean, as the Greeks and the Italian and the Romans had access to the Mediterranean. Their third Rome is you need to have access to the sea, and they need this kind of sense of a Mediterranean a naval base and a trading base and all the rest of it, and they're going to lose it, and he knows it. And it's the while Russians may not be it may not be Russia, flooding in to defend Crimea, when Crimea is legitimately at risk, and when the realization is that they're not going to get Odessa back because they've been deluding themselves that they're going to. When the rude awakening happens, that not only is Crimea a very real possibility that they could lose that, but that they have irrevocably lost Odessa. I mean, I was just there 2 weeks ago. There's no way they're getting Odessa back. It's never happening. It is never going to happen.
So,
and it's going to be devastating. For their mentality.
I think you're absolutely right. But I think the point the article was making was that there might be this historical version of that spiritual connection and the importance of Crimea, but on a practical sense, the average Russian isn't going, we must save Crimea right now, anyways. We
Well,
must defend it and push for it and blah blah blah. I think that's the point he's making, which is he's not wrong because nobody's rushing for this whole thing. That all of it, never mind Crimea, the entirety
you're
of it.
right, because the relationship between state and individual, the relationship between state and citizen is a completely different thing in Russia than it is in the West, and certainly in America. The less interaction that you have as an individual, as a citizen of the Russian Federation with the government or the authorities of Russian, governmental and bureaucratic power, the better. Because every time, if you are an individual in the Russian Federation and you get involved with the state, it ain't going to end well for you. There's no way it ends well for you. You don't benefit from the state. The state takes stuff from you.
Yeah,
that's the state
its gig.
Is
right.
That's it's a center of gravity, and it sucks up everything. And unless you have some sort of way of getting involved in the corruption that exists in Moscow, in the Kremlin, as that center of gravity, you don't want to get involved in the state. Conscription, you don't have a way to fight it. So when there's a conscription or a draft or whatever, the Russian mentality is, well, that's it. Okay, I'm screwed. I can't fight the system, because this is what always drives me nuts about we've talked about this, is that we as Americans don't understand how unique we are, Western democracies, but Americans in particular. With this kind of like, how dare you infringe upon my individual rights? In Russia, you are born, you live, and you die without don't even question that the state could steamroll.
Well, it's interesting. There's a big thing about there's a right wing flip out on the internet, this on X, quite frankly, on Shitter, about some Andrew Tate style dude in the UK who's had his apartment raided because of a conspiracy to commit criminal violence or something, whatever they were planning on doing. They busted it up before it got a chance, and the guy live streamed it, and he's like, "This is the totalitarian state we live in." And I'm like, all due respect, motherfucker, you're not in America. You don't under a monarchy, and in the UK, you don't have the same free speech rights we have. You don't have the same property rights. You just don't. You don't. So again, don't pretend you do, and then clamor and clutch pearls when they are able to come into your home like that when they do. And secondly, he's full of shit. They were engaged in criminal activity, and the cops were there for a good reason.
Also, in addition to that, so let me get this right. He was screaming about a totalitarian state while he was live streaming.
Right. Yeah. Instead of having, unless you're live streaming a rifle butt being bashed into your head, under a single bulb lamp.
So privileged.
My God.
Privileged.
Well, they're very delicate.
The lack of understanding.
Of real struggle.
Dude, if you were in Belarus and you were in Minsk the day after Lukashenko, won quote unquote, and you tried to do, they're torturing me, mate. You're bye-bye. You're in a ditch.
Right.
You're in a ditch somewhere. And that the live stream is first off, forget about even actually doing it unless you're very, very tech savvy. I have no patience. I have no patience.
I will say there. One of the other pieces of good news that I want to point out was the fact that apparently the Ukraine broke up a spy network of Russian spies inside of Ukraine, running out of Mykolaiv, I believe.
Was that Mykolaiv? I saw the pictures.
Yeah, there was like 13 or 15 people who've been recruited by the FSB that were doing that would trigger false flags and that kind of stuff. And a lot of the things that the intel community was warning about happening as far as false flags and attacks and other stuff inside the country that that were talked about last year largely were because they had a line on these people. And then they finally just wrapped them all up, it seems. There was a press release from them that said Ukrainian intelligence forces conducted the recent large-scale operation in Mykolaiv Oblast. Yeah, there it is. 13 local residents were found to be allegedly working for the FSB. According to the Kiev Post, the SBU's work resulted in the discovery of one of the most significant intelligence networks operated by Russia since the beginning of the full-scale invasion in February 2022. They wrote members of the alleged spy network had been gathering intelligence related to the location of Ukrainian bases and movements of Kiev's military in the Mykolaiv region. Network is also accused of providing information to Russia that was used for attacks on Ukrainian civilians and infrastructure. One Russian strike that reportedly resulted from intelligence from the informants occurred in autumn of 2022. They used the coordinates from the spies to hit a high-rise building in Mykolaiv with an S-300 anti-aircraft missile, resulting in the killing of 7 civilians, including 1 child. So they at a certain point, I think they were keeping these guys on a relatively short leash, and then just decided, we got to yank the chain. We got to get rid of them. So anyway, that's a good move. I'm glad that that's happening, and it's nice that it's moved out of just the churches, because for a while they were discovering these FSB setups in these fake churches, but that always the press around that is something that the right wing over here has been using in this weird, bizarre, like white nationalist Christian idea that Russia's the perfect white Christian state, and that their churches, because they're big and shiny, are actually full of the actual thoughts of Christ and the philosophy itself, which they are not. They are just basically outposts for the military and governmental ideology of Vladimir Putin, and putting those in other countries where it's like the Chinese benevolent societies in the United States. I got news for everybody. They're not benevolent. They're little mafia squats. They're like the supper clubs that the Italians put together. It's the same shit. And
it's the political. You hear the bitching and the whining and the moaning about they're closing down opposition political parties, and they're shutting down newspapers, and they're shutting down the churches and all the rest of it. This is a nasty divorce. This is
right.
This is a thing that is and they're not acting in good faith. These political parties, these newspapers,
right.
The church is a little bit different because it's the Russian Orthodox Church. It answers to Kirill in Moscow, who was a former KGB agent. So the church is a little bit different, but they have masked newspapers and political parties and civil society and all sorts of things with infiltrators from Russia, and they're not acting in good faith. So and we do have we are under legally applied martial law. The Rada supported adopting martial law. We're at war. We're at war. And so legally Zelensky and the authorities have all the power in the world, because this power was granted to them through a democratic process. The parliament had a vote. They came, they debated, they said, we're at war. Let's vote in a state of martial law, and they did. It's legit. So this also goes into this whole upcoming election. The idea that maybe there, would elections be canceled in Ukraine, and again, martial law, so it would be completely legit for Zelensky to do that.
Right.
But he is aware of how that looks. So there's this debate going on here about, do we hold elections in 2024 or do we not? Zelensky has been saying, not just Zelensky, but a lot of people have been saying, we have martial law. We're at war. Now it's not the time to do it.
It's an active war zone, right? Get out of here.
War zone, but also in addition to that, what I've heard and this is the point that sticks with me most when you talk about holding elections in 2024. What about all those Ukrainians who are currently living in occupied territory?
Yeah, they can't
vote.
What about their ballots? What
How
about
do
their
you
freedom
cast
to
those
pick
ballots?
without a gun to their head, right?
So you're losing 20% of the electorate who under Kiev's, perspective, these are Ukrainians living under occupation. They are fully fledged Ukrainian citizens who have the right to cast their ballot. So what do you do in the case of not being able to collect 20% of your population's ballots? It's not viable, but they're going to keep using this kind of stuff. Those who support Russia are going to continue using this kind of mentality to attack Ukraine, and it's also disingenuous because how many do you think, Jim? Do you think Boebert gives a damn about Ukrainian elections in terms of like democracy in Ukraine? No, she's using it as a cudgel to support the political position where she is a fellow traveler with the white Christian nationalists in Russia, and also because the God King,
Trump says so. Yeah.
Trump
I will say there's a couple things. One is he's all over the map about Ukraine. He doesn't have a fucking position either, and it's he's to some degree he's buddy with Putin, but because he cozied up with Xi and he blames Xi for COVID, and that's what he thinks is why he lost the election. He's all over the fucking map as far as what he's talking about. That said, somebody in the chat room said, "Is there no end in sight to this?" To this awful war. There is an end in sight. It is very clear.
Sure.
And all we got to do is commit to back them fully, and they'll be able to take care of this themselves. It won't require U.S. or NATO troops on the ground. The Ukrainians can handle it themselves as long as they have the military hardware to fight back against a much larger force, if not not as well trained, not as well organized, certainly not as thoughtful, not as strategic as the Ukrainians have been, but can beat them by attrition, theoretically, with just the volume of human beings, at least up to a certain point. Now, we are approaching, and we may already be there, let me check, but we are approaching 300,000 dead Russians.
Dead Russians. Well, they're banking on us losing our resolve.
Right.
That 100%.
Yep.
They're
waiting for the Vietnam effect, which worked last time in their mind. Yeah.
They think we're going to turn on one another, and hopefully they're wrong. I think they're wrong. And again, when will it end? It'll end with a victory on the battlefield, and Russia.
That's it. That's it.
It's
not ending any other way. It simply will
back.
not. Yeah, it simply will not end any other way, because the Russians will, if we go, all right, stop today, you can have what you took, Ukraine's just got to take it, that's the end of it, which is what Trump is basically arguing for and what Marjorie Taylor Greene and the rest of them are arguing for. Then the next move is they build up and build up and build up until they take the next big slice. And this is just a 40-year project to every 5 years take a giant chunk of Ukraine, while at the same time also diverting their resources that they've been using in Ukraine back to Georgia, back to Africa, where they fucking murder people hand over fist. I cannot...
And we cannot force the Ukrainians to accept a peace that they do not want to accept themselves.
Right.
And so the other alternative is, do we, as some in the absolutely idiotic isolationist wing of and the fellow travelers and the pro white Christian nationalists and all the rest of it, if we just up sticks and decide to stop supporting the Ukrainians, that does not mean that Ukraine will stop fighting.
No.
Ukraine will never stop fighting. So the alternative we have is either decide that we want Ukraine to win and fully 100%, no more incremental support. Give them everything that they need to finish this war through victory on the battlefield. That's, in my mind, we have the
only way out.
Agreed. The other alternative is to pick up sticks and stop supporting him, and then sit by and watch as there is a genocide.
They get murdered. Yep. What? Yeah, and
Yes, there are
Papa,
options because the
Papa Soup in our
Ukrainians won't
chat.
stop fighting.
Yeah, Papa Soup in the chat says if U.S. funding isn't restored, what choices did the president have? Okay, a couple things. One is it will be, because the Senate won't let something go through without the funding restored. So I don't want anybody to worry about that. If the government is funded, Ukraine is funded. And even in this particular instance, in this interim 45 days, they just released a bunch of the funds right before all this bullshit was happening because they knew they had to deal with these idiots. And there's a story that just came out that the U.S. is giving seized Iranian weapons, guns, ammo, missiles, drones, all kinds of shit that we had seized in Syria and in other places, Afghanistan, to the Ukrainians to use. And by the way, a lot of that stuff is filtered Russian stuff, ammo for their Kalashnikovs and whatnot, and those guns themselves. So they're used to working with it. It fits in with their kit that they already have. So it's pretty easy because all the Iranian, handheld weapons, for the most part, are all Russian made or were originally Russian designed.
They were a Soviet client state.
So they're going to give that. They're going to get that stuff. They're getting a lot of that stuff over the next few days. The Pentagon's announcing the policy, I think, Monday, but the stuff is already on the move. And then there was a story that I thought was fascinating about this Russian National Guard guy who defected.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
In the
UAE.
UAE.
He's down in South Africa. Oh, he's in UAE now.
Yeah, he
there are a few of them.
He flew to the UAE on vacation, and then went immediately to the American embassy, where he declared his reluctance to fight against Ukraine and his readiness to cooperate with the American intelligence services. FSB launched active investigations into the details of the escape. His name's Gavrichenko. He was like, yeah, I'm just going to head down to Saudi town.
It's a Ukrainian name.
Yeah, right. Well, there you go. He just went straight to he landed and went straight to the U.S. embassy and went, what do you guys need? That's a regular occurrence now. Now, again, Marjorie Taylor Greene and Boebert and Gates and Chip Roy and some of these other fuckers are doing these, like Chip Roy especially, like yesterday said some very much like, we're no more Ukraine funding until our border is secured or whatever. Never mind the fact that there's no such thing as locking down the border the way they're talking about. It's a farce. You're not shutting down the whole fucking, you're not going to build a giant Chinese style wall and put fucking alligators and M50s all over the fucking place that if anybody, and barbed wire, and anybody who tries to crawl through it is going to get killed. That's not how it works. It's never going to work that way. And they know it, but that's the lie that they're telling. So it's their way of trying to kill the funding because, again, it's the stroke of the pen fallacy, the existence, the goal they're talking about. If I get this, I'll allow you to do this, when that thing they're saying they want is not possible. And they know it's not possible. They're aware that it's not possible. So ultimately, it's not going to matter. I got to tell you. Like, the Republicans are fucking their chances at re-election so bad right now. Oh. And the flip out on Fox News and the flip out on right-wing media is enormous. There's been a couple of, like, lightweights talking about, like Matt Lewis at the Daily Beast saying the Democrats should have helped McCarthy stay in power and therefore, when in reality, no. Because whoever's next, if it's Jim Jordan, if it's Steve Scalise, it'll probably be Steve Scalise, because he was shot, and therefore there's a sympathy that they will have to not kick him to the curb right away. If he wants his speakership to be meaningful at all, he's going to have to make a compromise. Nothing that he passes will go through the Senate without that compromise, and he will not be able to force anything because he has no leverage other than shutting the government down, and they don't have enough of a mandate to call for that, and nobody wants it in the first place, and they're getting blamed for it. So whoever it is, him, Jim Jordan, anybody, they're going to get the same treatment McCarthy got. Because the material circumstances on the ground have not changed at all. They are just lining people up to lose their myth. So if Steve Scalise is the guy that steps up, Steve Scalise is going to get treated like shit and called a turncoat by Matt Gaetz in about 8 weeks. And then Jim Jordan will follow him, and they'll do the same fucking thing. And it'll be this dance of idiocy, like, for the till all the way to next year. And everybody will go, why the fuck are... It's not a choice between Republican and Democrat. It's a choice between competence and not having a government that functions at all. And that's not really a choice. You just vote for the Democrat and get on with your fucking life.
what's funny is I told you I kind of spent the last
I like to
couple
think
of
I do.
days working on a whole working on a whole bunch of other things. Today I spent in a series of meetings with a number of different Ukrainians, journalists, and I'm vetting a new fixer and that kind of stuff. Not a one of them were concerned about this Ukrainian aid issue, which is they know our political system better than I would argue so many of our fellow citizens don't know, because of course it's integral to their survival. So it's understandable. It's not like they're working at a different intellectual level than our fellow citizens. But they know more, and so like when we would talk about it, they're like, yeah, we're not worried. We'll be fine. We'll be fine. We understand it was a political, that leaving out Ukrainian aid was a political decision, and that ultimately, we're going to be fine.
Yeah.
And it was like, well, okay, I thought I was going to come to these meetings and be bombarded with, oh my God, are the Americans abandoning us? And not a single Ukrainian in my several meetings today.
The Biden administration also in the conversations with NATO and the addition of Norway and Sweden to NATO and the ongoing talks about that have set up a system where they go, look, if at any point our guys try to fuck with funding, you guys have to step up and push a little more. So what you hear is whenever you see one of these fluffs, and you can go back and track it, go back and look for like a momentary pause around the debt ceiling, this thing. Anytime they're pausing Ukraine funding and they're trying to hold it back, the UK or France or somebody or Poland will automatically, there'll be all these stories about getting materials from each of these countries. Like they're adding this one thing to it, or they got a load of these tanks, or they got those Hornet drones from Sweden or Norway, I think it was. You'll hear more of those things because that's part of the plan as well. That's part of the strategy is like, look, if our guys, if you guys catch shit from your constituents about how much you're spending on the Ukraine war, you could fall back and we'll pick up the gap, and the vice versa. And it's part of the psychological strategy of dealing with this and these lunatics, in every country that Putin, quite frankly, has set up over the last decade.
Oh, yeah.
They have spent a decade establishing these little fiefdoms through the NRA in the United States, through Donald Trump, and the same thing at these like helping lift up Marie Le Pen, right-wing groups in Germany or whatever, just giving them funding. You don't even have to. The thing is, Russia doesn't. I think this is weird because people think you have to ideologically agree with the person you're doing when destruction is the whole purpose. They don't give a fuck. They
just want disruption. They want to chuck a hand grenade into the various parliaments of liberal democracies around the world, or Congress in the United States. Chuck a hand grenade in there, close the door, and whatever happens is their kind of mentality. And you're right. They have been funding for all their condemnation of Ukrainian Nazis.
Right.
They fund Nazis all over the world.
Well, it's like that old Bill Hicks joke. Nazis in Ukraine. Lots of Nazis in Ukraine. Huge Nazis. How do you know? We looked at the receipt. That is ultimately, I mean, they are funding these Nazi groups so that they can point and say, there's some Nazis. They do it in the United States too.
They do it in the United States as well. And also because, I don't want to say exclusively, but in a vast majority, the far right is more of a disruptor generally than the far left. There are far left terrorists. There are guys in the far left that resort to, the anarchists and the Red Brigades and all the rest of it. But generally, you don't have to push a fascist group that hard to go to violence, because fascism it's essential to built on. Yeah, it's essential. Violence is part of the doctrine. So they fund both sides. But they fund the far right more than I would argue than they fund the far left, because the far right does what it is that they want. They don't care about the ideology. They want disruption. They want chaos.
Yeah. And that will be the ongoing. I don't know. By the way, I don't know if you'll be able to hear this. I'll just see where this audio. Let me. Actually, I know you'll be able to see it. Hold on. While you're choking to death, I'm gonna check something real quick. I think I'll have to go into the audio settings of this just to make sure that you'll be able to hear a piece of audio. So anyway, is this? No, it's managed devices. Device prop. This is it. App volume. Okay. Where I can send this through so that you'll be able to hear it. Momentary sourcing, just cause we do it that way. Where are you? Oh, that's the media viewer. I see. And that goes through system.
Tickle in the back of my throat.
Yes, I understand. Yeah, you're right. Okay, I think you can. Let me know if you can hear this. If you hear any audio here. It's pretty quiet, but
I got
whatever.
It. I got
it. All right, let me show you something because this is fucking
hilarious.
hilarious.
The moron? Is this
yes,
moron?
this is the moron. This is him walking out of court, real quick. And hold on, I've got to change your name so you're not Tara Dublin, real quick, and then so I can bring you over on this other screen. Not that you mind, I'm sure, but just out of respect. Let's go to here. This is look at this lighting. Jesus Christ. Somebody's got like a reflector or just a straight up light, and he literally just walks into this like he's uplit. Like, this is him walking out of court just now a couple minutes ago.
Somebody's got like a key light on their camera.
Yeah, exactly. And he walks right up to it. So watch this.
Moron.
Yeah.
Oh, come on.
This trial is a total witch hunt, and I should be.
Well, at least he's saying something new and fresh.
Like everybody else is entitled to a jury. I have no rights to have a jury. It's ridiculous. Thank you.
Have you spoken to Speaker McCarthy?
He is angry.
Oh, he's pissed. It's great.
Is he angry?
It's so good. Phil, it's so good. It's so good. He's so mad. But the fact that he walks out like, I need an uplight because Sparks keeps making fun of my nunt. And he gets this, like, they come out. Yeah. That's his, that's all he's got. That was from, by the way, that was posted online by Lynn Wood. That's Lynn Wood's clip of it or whatever. Who is basically rolling on Trump as well, which is fucking hilarious. Let's see. There's where's the? Oh yeah. So a couple of things. Here's the other couple of things I want, like the Kiev Independent was talking about.
Just incredible.
Just Have you been following any of that stuff? I mean, does it look weird over here? Because it's pretty hilarious.
Well, I mean, it's not. I'm betting that you can't escape it over there. Here we can escape it. We don't, it's not omnipresent.
Right.
But I'm betting every restaurant you go into, every corner shop, or I'm sure it's
right.
It's inescapable over there. Here we can we can tune it out. But as an American citizen, I follow it, of course.
Right.
And it's just, it's the collapse is coming. We're watching it. I'm not worried at all. I'm not.
Yeah, me either.
I am not Cenk Uygur. I am not. Oh, Biden can't win. Biden can't win.
Oh yeah.
Well,
Yeah, he will.
I think he can. I'll vote for him.
Yeah.
It's.
Well, and the other thing is
he's it's going to get so worse for Trump. It's going to get
worse.
It's
so Well, there are multiple tiers of this, and I think this is interesting. Will this ever happen to some degree to Vladimir Putin, for example, which is the mythology of being a military leader? That's got to be gone, right? At this point, for the most part, it has to be. Oh, sorry, I think playing in the background is some audio of the live Trump stuff because he's not out there yet. Yeah, it is. Okay. It's just the hallway noise. Sorry. The myth of Donald Trump is slowly dying, in front of him. And like it, I mean, the rest of us already knew when he was a clown when he was on The Apprentice, but everybody else, his supporters, a lot of them are, the diehards might stick around, and that's, there used to be 30% of the electoral populace. Now it's 30% of that 30%. and that's why he's got a 50-point lead over DeSantis and some of these other
Well,
folks. But the rest
think
of them divide up to half the field.
Trump will die the death of 1,000 cuts.
Yeah,
it's just going to be day after day after day after day.
Mm-hmm.
I think Putin. I think both Trump and Putin inevitably are doomed to fail.
Right.
You know, it would have to be something extraordinary would have to happen, in my opinion, for either Trump or for Putin to survive the predicament that they've put themselves in.
Right,
and
right.
Of their own doing, no sympathy at all. Not that there would be. But they have both put themselves in this position. But Trump will die the death of 1,000 cuts. Putin, it will be violent, it will be abrupt, and it will turn on a dime.
Right.
It will be an abrupt shift. It will be he's going to be he will be seen, I think. And look, I don't have a crystal ball, but having studied this part of the world for over 25 years, he will be all powerful until he isn't.
Right.
He will be the center of gravity. Well, in the larger Russian population and the country's support for him, he will not be seen to be weak until he isn't. It'll be a the emperor has no clothes kind of moment. And one day he will be the all powerful, and the next day he will be. Yeah,
I
dead.
think the question is like he's got to be aware that that's the speed on which it's going to turn. And Trump, I think Trump is becoming increasingly aware that that's his situation too. And so he's trying to. This is his last ditch effort to get his followers to try and attack somebody, I'm going to get somebody murdered, and they'll know they shouldn't have fucked with me, all the while not doing any of it himself. This is not a situation where he's like, I could shoot somebody in the middle of Fifth Avenue. Yeah, but you literally don't have the ability or fortitude or rage, courage, any of that to do it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's a certain amount of like resolve that I think he is actually incapable of. And when he could say that, but it's a bunch of macho bullshit. But he's got supporters.
Back to pop culture.
Right.
All goes back to pop culture. It's the unforgiven. It's the unforgiven. It's a hell of a thing killing a man. You take everything he ever had and everything he's going to have.
He will have.
And it takes part of the message of that plot line in the unforgiven. I mean, you see Morgan Freeman's character when he bricks it when he's supposed to be sniping the kid outside the outhouse.
Yeah,
and he just can't
do it.
Can't pull the trigger. And then the other kid, the kid who his life turns. You have to have testicular fortitude, and Trump doesn't have it. Ultimately, when it comes right down to it, he's never been tested.
Right.
He's never been faced with a crisis and come up wanting that he would recognize within himself. He's never. That's never happened to him.
Yeah, and I've always said that like the option of him, doing that is it's an impossibility. But he does have. There is a rogue nutcase, subgroup of subgroup of subgroup that would definitely do shit like this on his behalf. And at a certain point, that will be the worth that he hangs his hat on, because he can blame them while driving them to it. That's what and I think that's where he is. Like, if you look at how angry he is in this court, and by the way, this is the civil fucking trial. This is a fine and losing your business license when you can open your business in fucking Delaware or in Florida where he now lives. And he left. It's the state he went, fuck New York. New York sucks. And he left. And now he's like, I'm not having business. I'm not going to be in business there anymore. Boo-hoo. You didn't want to be, apparently. It sucks. I thought it sucks to be in business there. So what, if you're a criminal, obviously, everybody there who works there is trying to attract legit business and get rid of the people who've been eating up more than their fair share of resources and financials, for years and been in front of the line, who are there fraudulently, like him. And they're making an example of him. And he should have been made of an example of when he was a fucking teenager, early 20s monster back in the day, and it might have maybe changed his trajectory, if not his attitude. But man, like,
what could have been,
yes. It's a difficult lesson to learn. We're getting near the bottom of the hour, and I want to thank you for coming on today. I look forward to seeing you on Saturday. There will always be big news. I want people to check out Philip Ittner on YouTube. Check out his vlogs, and you got a new one coming out.
I just put one out yesterday, and
great.
So
Okay.
I'll probably have another one coming out next week. I'm pretty proud of the one that dropped yesterday at the market. It's not just two-dimensional Ukraine.
Right.
There are human beings here trying to be as human as they possibly can and live as normal a life as they possibly can, and in so doing, they're resisting the Russians just by living, just by being human, being normal. And I don't think you're going to see that anywhere else. So
no,
go check out the vlog. It's just called The Market. It's on my channel. Philip Ittner at Yahoo. I'm sorry, at YouTube. Before Sexy Liberal, we have to have a chat. But actually, if you have a quick chance to DM sometime before Saturday, I have an idea I want to run past you. But
great, I will. It's a great idea. Tomorrow early part of the day I have a little bit of time, so we'll try and hook up then. I love that idea 100%. Thanks, Phil, for being with us. We'll see you on Saturday.
All right, guys.
Take care of yourselves, and we look forward to your 10-day vacation. Hopefully you could coordinate being here for Sexy Liberal, and I can introduce you to a bunch of people who know you from that are coming to the show and the like. So, all right, take care of yourself and take care of somebody else. See you later, brother.
See you, man. All right, bye.
Yeah. So there he goes, Philip Ittner. Everybody, thanks so much. I'm kind of tempted. It's 10:59. Do we stay on for the next 20 minutes and watch me turn into a zombie? I mean, we can, right? That's all right. Is it all right? We just stick around. I mean, I got work to do on the computer, and I could just kind of hang out and mess with some stuff and see if that maybe see if it maybe we'll get lucky and it triggers early or something like that. I don't quite know. I mean, I'm having a really good skin day, so it would be a shame to, I think you could really see the transformation, right? We can monitor the feeds. Absolutely. I think let's do it. Get zombified. Okay. I got a vote from Andrea. Most of the chat are for it. Thanks. It's a little warm in here. That might be a zombie thing, although I think it would make me colder, wouldn't it? Don't you get cold? Do we have any zombie experts? Because I have my theory about zombies. You want to hear? It's a good time to talk zombies, shall we? Okay. Zombies initially, the as a monster. Like if you look at a lot of the old Universal monsters, the Wolfman, Dracula, and Frankenstein specifically. Oddly enough, even though one was a dog that would eviscerate you in theory, the other was enormously strong. The Hulk was initially based. The Hulk, when they created the character, was gray, had a flat top to his head, and was based on Frankenstein to some degree, as as part of the design, just a muscle-bound Frankenstein. And then, of course, Dracula has fangs and drinks your blood. But in all the movies, they would choke you. Did you ever notice that? The Mummy also. The Mummy would have mystical ideas, should be able to, I guess, fill your mouth with beetles and all kinds of shit, but only choked you, right? It was always about choke. They always wanted to choke. They were like, Wayne Brady, are Universal monsters going to have to choke a bitch? I am not a violent monster, but I may have to. Okay, so the reason for that was the Industrial Revolution. Bad air. About 60 years of industrial pollutants. Everybody felt, in the cities especially, where you could watch movies, that you couldn't breathe. And so the idea is the inability to breathe was one of the scariest ways to go. And someone choking you, that's why, again, nobody was afraid of being torn apart, even though that seems to be way scarier. You'd think you could fight it off, but they all did that. They were all afraid of tuberculosis. There was a reason for why it went on. Okay, so breathing issues, that's why you ended up being, yes, and no blood, that did help too. It was easy on the effects. But you could also do that by beating someone and hiding the, just off camera or something, right? But anyways, that was initially what it was about. So everybody got choked. Even the fucking creature from the Black Lagoon choked people. Very weird. So, but it was all about industrial pollution and the inability to breathe in the cities and in factories and stuff. It was all just a breathing issue. But yes, it was easy to film. Yes, that's all true. But it also had to be scary enough for the people watching, right? Okay. The other thing is that when zombies first showed up, they represented communism. They represented the march of the brainless worker. And they eat your brain because that's where your individuality, your soul is, your consciousness is in your brain. And so they eat your brains and then you become a mindless worker. It was an analogy for the creep of communism. And that's what scared people, was the idea that, oh man, they're going to turn me into a mindless worker, right? And that lasted for, yes, and Body Snatchers, very similar. You'll go back to your job, you'll continue doing your job, but that's all you're about is your job. And you won't, the rest of you doesn't matter. And everybody else, right? Okay. So that was, and that held on for quite some time, especially in the zombie genre for a very long while. It was they would crawl up out of the ground, they were the dead, they would eat your originality, and then you would just become a mindless eater, right? One of Henry Kissinger's useless eaters. And then what was the big change with 28 Days Later? Suddenly zombies were fast, and they had blood coming out of their mouth, and if they got a drop of the blood on you, you turned into a zombie too. They didn't even have to bite you to do it. It could get a drop of it in your eyeball, and you would turn in an instant. And that's because the fear shifted away from communism, which we had effectively beaten once 1991, once the wall fell and the USSR fell. Nobody was really scared of it anymore. So new zombies were basically rampaging, riotous, poor people with AIDS, bloodborne illness, and rioters. So imagine, the new zombies are a cross between the Rodney King riots and AIDS, right? Those two fear mixes put together, right? Does that make sense? And that's what our fear moved to, right? Our fear moved away from, nobody believes they're going to be a wage slave, not really, not like that. And they what we were afraid of was now, the new attributes of the modern version of this. In the same way that, interestingly enough, and this is really fucked up about vampires, because I don't know how vampires got sexy at some point. It's just stupid. Because they're supposed to be charming. And the reason that they're charming is because they have to be, because they're dead and they feel like ice. So these, like, anybody, there's all these women who watch shows like True Blood and all these movies with vampires, and they're like, oh, he's so sexy. He feels like a dead body. He's a dead body. He would feel ice cold. Vampires have no body heat. That's part of the mythology, even in the new ones. Can you imagine? Obviously, if you're a necrophiliac, you could argue it's a victimless crime. None of my business, but I would just leave me alone and anybody I know. But the idea is that vampirism is supposed to teach you a lesson about, it may be intoxicating, the idea that you can live forever, but what you'd have to do to live forever is unethical, immoral, and gross, and it's heartbreaking to do. So killing someone else, taking their blood to live, as that analogy is a great, it's part of the maturation process. It's almost like an exaggeration of the Alec Baldwin character in The Edge. 20 Days Later, we're not zombies. It was a virus. It's a zombie virus. Distinction without a difference. We all know it's a zombie movie. They just spread it through a different way. Instead of it being mystical, it was a disease. But even in the Day of the Dead, they were saying it was a bacteria. It didn't matter. It's a zombie movie. So don't mess with me on this. Quit it. Don't even try. You don't mince. Yeah. Anyways, so the modern vampires. It used to be that being a vampire is a curse. And everyone you love will die, and the only way that you could keep them with you is if you turn them into the undead and turn your curse into their curse, and nobody would do that to somebody that they loved, and the back and forth of that. So that was the old kind of Dracula Lucy storyline, right? Now, with like True Blood and shit, can you sing Cry Little Sister from Lost Boys? Thou shalt not cry, little sister. Right. The modern ones, it's like a club everybody wants to be in. It's like this weird thing that becoming a vampire makes you in the cool club, which is fucking lame because morally it's fucking horrifying. And I've had this fight with people and I will continue to do it, but you got to be some kind of sick to like fucking shows like Hannibal and root for him. It's different with Dexter because he's kind of an anti-hero. He's a bad guy who knows he's a bad guy, so he takes his bad tendencies and uses them against bad people. That's a tale as old as time. That's been around forever. But the idea that, Hannibal's just so smart. He's just so smart. No, he isn't. He's not smart. He sneaks up on people because the rest of us got shit to do. 13 minutes, we're all going to be zombies anyways. It'll be a moot point. But there are always these moments in horror movies where people are like, oh, he's so cool because he does this and he kills Chilton at the end for being a dick. I got news for you. Chilton is an asshole, and he might be a bit of a masher with Clarice, but he's right about Hannibal being a monster. He's right about the attitude he has towards these guys who are in the dungeon for what they've fucking done. He's not wrong about this. And so the idea that he deserves to be killed in the end because isn't that cute is like, go fuck yourself. But on top of that, it's immaterial. That one like cute little ethical thing, like him in Red Dragon, where he murders the flautist that's bothering him, which is just elitist bullshit. Everybody's like, eat the rich, eat the rich, eat the rich, and then there's a bunch of people who are like, I love that part in Hannibal, where Hannibal in Red Dragon kills the flute player for sucking. Like, Jesus Christ, while wearing a tuxedo. Anyways, so there is a moment, there's a fuck you moment in Silence of the Lambs, which should let you recognize that this is your off-ramp in getting caught up into whether or not Hannibal Lecter is interesting or charming, or because they say never forget what he is. He's a monster. And that's the whole point, is they work at making you forget. He works at making you forget. But when Chilton is walking Clarice Starling down to the, down to meet him for the first time, he pulls out a picture, and when he's telling her not to approach the glass, and says, when they were transferring him at one point, he faked a heart palpitation. When they loosened his straps, he attacked the nurse. His pulse never went above 60, even when he swallowed her tongue. They were able to salvage part of her cheek and reset her jaw, which means he he broke her jaw by biting it. And that's a nurse. And all that nurse was doing was loosening the straps on him because she thought he was having a heart attack. My mom's a nurse. Fuck you. My mom used to work at a mental institution. Fuck you. Shit like that happens. So, no. Most real-life monsters are beguiling. No. Most people know they're a monster because the person that they get attacked by is 90% normal, 10% awful. But the kind of people we're talking about, like Hannibal Lecter and others, are 90% awful, 10% normal, and they're just manipulative. The issue is that, what did Buffalo Bill ultimately do? He wore a cast like Ted Bundy, and he played on a woman's empathy to get her to help him put this, can you help me get this up in there? You would? Thank you. That shit. That's not brilliant or cunning. That's just simply recognizing that people have their guard down because most people are basically good. And when you take advantage of people's goodness like that, you're just a sociopath. It doesn't even require that much cleverness. Because by the way, you can, there's a saying in the FBI that most people meet their serial killer halfway. Most victims meet the serial killer halfway. meaning you're busy doing what you're doing. You're not looking around. You have no situational awareness. You're walking late at night by yourself. You go off by yourself. You're drinking in the wrong place. You let somebody fix you a drink and you don't check it. Like all those kind of things. That's you meeting them halfway, doing half the job for them. They are, we don't have stories of, we don't have a serial killer in the United States that killed Marines hand to hand, that like beat them to death with their fists and went, I call myself the Zodiac. I am here to fight you. Excelsior. Eradicator. They sneak up on women and children and men who are just, picking something up off the ground. They club them or stab them and take them away. That's it. Like that, all you do is look, it's opportunistic, it's not intelligent. And that said, that is why, ladies and gentlemen, if I have a message for you today, and I think that I do, is practice doing things you do all the time without looking. Namely, putting your key in your car. Once you put your key in your car and you're opening the car, stop looking at the door. Once you get in the car and you've done it 100 times, you close the door, you put your key in the lock. Once the key has found the lock, stop looking at it. Don't look at this while you're doing it. Memorize where it is. Go easy. You're not in a huge hurry. Keep your eyes up. Have a little bit of situational awareness. Because that makes the difference. If you look at these interviews with serial killers, so talk to strangers and go into the cars, right? If you listen to these interviews with serial killers, they would go hunting, and one of the things that they would automatically go, not that person, is if the person had situational awareness. Yeah, check your back seat when you walk up to the car. Walk up, look inside your car like that. Don't get in unless you can see into the seat, that kind of thing. Oh, the end is near. 6 minutes. 6 minutes is zombie time. Come on now. I'm practicing. As they say, keep your head on swivel. That's all I ask. I've told you guys this a couple times before, but it bears repeating, that you can often tell who's trouble in public by their shoes. People who go out looking for trouble put on troublemaking shoes. Work boots, hiking boots, combat boots, and those long-distance trek walking shoes. Somebody in flip-flops is not going to be a problem. Somebody in high heels, somebody in slip-ons, not going to be a problem. But if you're looking around, one of the quickest ways you can eliminate most people is how they're dressed. You don't need to look at your remote. Does that count? Sure, absolutely. Nobody's going to jump through your window. Look how that is all I wear. Okay. Combat boots or whatever. I do too. When I go out, I wear combat boots, and I am trouble. I am in a situation. I'm trouble. I mean, if you're trouble, I'm trouble for you, but I'm not rando trouble. But that's why. It's one of the quickest. Crocs, totally safe. No, there are no troublemakers in Crocs. But if you're in shit-kicking boots, yeah. That's how. Too many spark systems, I'm sorry. Combat boots are comfy. I agree. I have my 511s are my favorite boots. I've had them forever. 5 minutes. 5 minutes to zombie time. Hold on one second. I'm going to go get my phone. Where'd it go? Did I bring it down here? Did I bring it? Where's my? I've got to. Okay, hold on. Talk amongst yourselves. I got to hurry. I'll run up and get it because I want it. I'm back. I'm back. They were upstairs. I don't know why. I don't know why. But they will go off at the same time. Hopefully, we'll see. Hopefully, it's very exciting. Whew. 3 minutes. I feel it. Should I feel it already? I don't know. So, are anybody closer? Yeah, 2 minutes to 5G. All right. Let's see. By the way, I love the first, I would say, 4 seasons of Walking Dead. You could skip 2. You really can. They had no money. And it's just kind of like a cul-de-sac. They stay basically at that one house. Right before mindless zombies is ironic. Yeah, no, it's a mistake, Papa Soup. I apologize. I feel like, I shouldn't. And it's, pearls before. Oh! Yeah! It's early. It's 2 minutes early. Important. This is a test of the National Wireless. This is purpose is to maintain and improve alert warning capabilities at the federal, state, and okay, capabilities to the public. Okay. Is that our short emergency signals from the thing? Okay. Itchy. Hold on. No, that was just gas. I'm okay. Brains. It's activated. It might take a little while. Maybe it's got to percolate. My daughter just asked if I was psychic. Sort of. I mean, I knew she was going to ask that. Is that what she means? You're weighing off too? No. Okay, that was it. It's like a cramp. What if all of you doesn't turn into a zombie? What if you have just like zombie parts? That would. No action is required by the public. I see. You just went for 5 seconds. It's yeah, I feel exactly the same. Maybe I was already a zombie. Oh no. Yeah, no, I think that's, yeah, I got mine early. Your arm fell off. Okay. That could be normal though. I wouldn't say that could be a coincidence. Causation is not, correlation is not causation. Just because it happened at that time. We're all immune. Oh no, Fika zombie. It's very difficult to say. At this point, I don't, Jesus, what could possibly, what's going on with this? Hold on. Should I do this? Why is it not working? Okay. Hopefully. Yep. Nope. No, I'm not. I am hungry. I am feeling a bit peckish. I don't know what I feel like eating. You know what I feel like eating? The kidney. Oh no. The kidney's been destroyed. What happened? What in the world? They've taken away the power of the kidney. How can they do it? Why? The kidney has been destroyed. Oh no. This is an ongoing problem. It's going to be a problem. I just know it. We're being attacked. It's the deep state. Oh God. There it is. Nothing. Nope, nothing. Still, yeah. You were eating roast beef? Are you sure? Well, I guess that's it. I will be monitoring myself for any zombie-like changes over the next couple of hours. And hopefully I will see you this afternoon at the afternoon show at 3 o'clock Pacific time. House Park's Megaworldwide, where no doubt we will be dealing with more Trump meltdowns, and we'll get into some of these videos. But in the interim, I'm feeling a little more like kind of, I don't know, like werewolfish, or who can say? Huh? Yeah, nothing. Yeah, not that I feel that nope. And I'm not. Hold on. You know what? We'll check. Wait 1 second. Maybe I'm magnetic. Let's try this. Hold on. Okay, good luck. Hold on. Shit. Are vampires magnetic? Maybe I'm not anymore because I became. Oh, I gotta fucking. I'm gonna need to take some notes. This is very difficult. Yeah, that's how it starts. Very small. What? I will see you guys later. I hope.